field guide to being a responsive parent, therapy, Panic at the Disco song title. It's Mama Cuss's book, okay? It's good. I have 3 copies. I bought 2 of them. One of them was advanced reader because I'm her best friend. The other, I bought one of them because I saw it in an airport and got excited. I'm getting sidetracked. Anyway.
Raising a well-behaved child in this world requires strict discipline and punishment. Today, we will look...
No, we will not. Hello, and welcome to Childproof, a Pleasant Phantom production. I'm Gwenna Lathland.
And I'm Tori Phantom. And you're in the wrong room, Gwenna.
No, I'm in the same room from a different angle. That is the angle you're used to seeing.
I'm going to have to change my office now to match yours again. Is this because it's time to change?
It's because it's time to change.
Are we going to make people feel better about change?
We are, right after we start the timer, because that part is not changing.
Now, no one panic, okay? Childproof is not what's changing. It's us that are changing. And that'll make Childproof better.
So some of you have been here from the very beginning, but there in the center of listening to Childproof, some weird stuff happened and we barely explained it. We never told you what happened exactly. We said, okay, well, this thing, and now we're solo. And then we took a little break and then we came back. But then we never. So here's what happened.
What had happened was,
once upon a time, a production company reached out to us and we're like, hey, we used to have this show about parenting and our hosts have decided it's time to move on. Would you like to take over the show about parenting? And Tori and I were like, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. We love talking about that.
So Childproof was created. We debuted at something like number 4 on the podcast charts.
Yeah, it was
we
really
were
cool.
nominated for several awards.
We got to interview Idina Menzel and Philippa Sue.
Mm-hmm. As well as several of our other friends, other content creators.
Yeah.
But the production company that had hired us, that had brought us on, that was providing all of the support, the editing, the booking the guests, the sales, because podcasts are not free to produce. Yeah. They cost money. They took care of all that stuff. All we had to do was show up, be ourselves, talk about things that were helpful, and Childproof just was.
Mm-hmm.
But the production company that was helping us do all that was bought by a different production company who wanted a different vibe for their podcast collection.
We didn't fit that vibe. So we went solo. We did. But it was kind of beneficial in some ways. And I've learned some new skills, which has been really cool.
Several. But that also gave us the ability to do more of what we wanted to. For various reasons, not all of which Tori and I agreed with at the time, to be perfectly frank, we couldn't do video with either of the production companies. The first one that we came on with, or the one that took over before they changed direction, we couldn't do video. They had reasons, and we just nodded and fought them a whole bunch. Which, it's surprising that they're like, you don't fit our vibe.
Yeah. We're very opinionated.
Mouthy. But going solo, being not under someone else's rules, meant we got to make our own rules. So we added video.
Yeah. Because believe it or not, as content creators, we have a thing with video. We like to do that.
We just know how to do that. But after 2 years, we were super used to recording in hobgoblin mode. So we'd show up to recordings looking not like we look currently.
No, there's very low hanging fruit. Yeah. I feel like we did a few episodes too, right after my jaw surgery where my face was half paralyzed.
Yes.
Yeah. After my hysterectomy, when I just looked. Yeah.
We did episodes when one of us had the flu and just looked it. We looked rough. Yeah. Do you remember those episodes we did when I had pink eye?
Yes.
that
for like
horrid
2
case.
weeks.
Yeah.
Nothing was taking care of it. Oh man, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was still making videos. If you go back into the depths of Mama Cusses, I had this eye patch on. That's not because I needed to treat it with the eye patch, but when I had to be on video, this was so gross and disturbing
It was
a case.
weeping.
Yeah, that I just covered it so people wouldn't have to look at it. And then when I was finished filming, I took it back off, but I did not cover it for those episodes. And we will not be showing you pictures of that. That is, it's not good for human consumption, but we were doing a 21st century radio show.
Right.
We didn't need to worry about what we look like.
Yeah, we just showed up and talked about things, which is typically what we just do anyway. We're friends.
Yeah.
But because we are in different states, we don't have some really cool podcast set together. We don't have a neon childproof sign. We don't have some fancy couches. We don't have any of that. We have my office that I painted to match Gwenna's, which for everyone who is always commenting, asking, like, are we in the same space? Does mine permanently match Gwenna's? What is going on here? I'm going to insert a clip of the original prank, but essentially what had happened was this wall behind me was just blank. It was just blank. We had just moved into this house, and I was working on all the other stuff that I always have to do and 17 side projects because I love a side quest. And everyone was like, you got to do something about the wall just in case you ever want to do a clip. And I was like, well, everyone loves Gwenna's set. And Gwenna, everyone loves this paint color. It's Rainforest by Bear. And I heard her say it so many times. I had this idea in my head that I thought was going to be really funny. And I very secretly, in about 2 days, transformed a corner of my office to perfectly match Gwenna's. And then when she logged on, she thought it was a green screen. And so I'm going to share a clip of that video here.
Hi.
Hey.
I finally sent you the note.
Good.
I like the green screen.
It's not a green screen.
What did you do?
Oh, I made my office yours.
Did you do that? Just in time for me to have rotated mine. Oh my gosh, you painted it right. How long have you had this in the works?
I planned it 2 weeks ago. And I did it over the last 24 hours. I turned my space into yours, complete with gold drips.
I see that. Just in time for me to have rotated mine so it throws off the illusion.
Listen, I don't have a lot of pranks. I had this idea and it cracked me up. And I was like, I got to run this by people with regular senses of humor. Look, it's literally just the corner. The rest of my office is normal. I
was like, it's 9:45. Yeah, I'll go ahead and move my computer around on my desk. I've got 15 minutes to make sure everything's plugged in correctly.
It looks
but
like
yeah,
we're in the same room now. It just looks like I'm a little bit to the left of you. I got sick of you guys giving me a hard time about my office being empty and how it looks so bad. I was like, fine, I'll make it Gwenna's. Everyone loves Gwenna's.
That was amazing.
But yes, it is still just, I'm going to like move my camera here.
Yeah, my favorite is the roller marks.
Yes, it is not cleanly painted.
Didn't even bother to tape off a clean line for the section.
It's just, and that's how it will stay forever, because it is done. That's how I decided to do it. It is a little nook in this space. So
yeah,
it's my Gwenna's office nook, and that's the closest we got to a cohesive set.
But now that we have video. We could keep pretending that we're in the same room, but quite frankly, that's silly. We've been doing the podcast for a while with the video, and quite frankly, we look like we're on CNN. It's just talking heads.
We're just talking heads. Yeah.
And there's nothing interesting happening. You only see us from about the sternum up. Like, we are in different states.
We are.
Tori is in Kentucky. I am in Oklahoma. And part of what makes our podcast really cool is how unique we are, how so many times we take very, very different pathways to the same result.
Yeah.
And I feel like pretending that we're in the same space just because all of the other podcasters are in the same space because they are geographically located near each other is sort of diminishing what it is that we offer. We are two different people with two different perspectives, all pursuing the same end goal of having decent human beings that we are responsible for raising, who are empathetic, communicative, and successful adults.
And emotionally intelligent.
That's what we're aiming for. And how we get there, there's a billion different ways. Like that's kind of the crux of everything that Childproof has been with us as hosts. So we're in different states with different styles, and Childproof wouldn't be Childproof without us being our unique selves.
Yeah. Though, I mean, I feel like some people can't tell which one of us is Tori and which one of us is Gwenna. So
the number of times we have both encountered, oh my gosh, I love your stuff, your makeup pep talks. I'm like, oh, you think I'm Tori.
I had a kiddo once tell me that they loved my chaos lunches, and I was like, thank you. I was like, I'm not going to tell you that I'm not her.
If you
I'm
are
okay
under,
with it.
if I assume, even if I have incorrectly guessed at your age, if I assume that you are a minor, if you cannot yet vote, I'm just, you're right.
I am whoever you think I am.
am.
I'm Gwenna. It's fine. We're intrinsically tied together, but no longer, as our backgrounds will soon be changing.
But anyway, we are shifting, and I'm going first because I had the availability to go first. I speak professionally for a living. So I am switching to a book goblin vibe. This that you're seeing now, if you are watching this on the video form, this will not be the permanent set. This was just a stop on the way while the rest of my space sort of transforms to enable me to both write the books that I write and do the podcasts that I do, including not just Childproof, but Founded and Bibliophage as well.
Yes, and my space will soon show the true history classroom that my office is outside of the Gwenna Nook.
Yeah.
I have the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution.
You have this really cool bean couch.
Yeah, it's like a bubble couch. It reminds me of 90s Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
So we're going to move to the bubble couch, and then just, an endless amount of founding father art that I've created in the background. So I should probably paint those walls too.
I'm so proud of my book goblin collection and all of the ephemera that lives on my shelves. I've got my sparkle goose back there. Like, I love the space that I've created for myself. And I feel like that better communicates who we are, what we do, and the kind of differences that can exist, all doing the same goals.
Yes. And we are actually really excited for what all of these shifts represent for both Childproof and the rest of our podcast network. Because after our production company yeeted us, we started our own. Pleasant Phantom Productions. You hear that in the intro. That was the first change. And you've heard us talk endlessly about our other podcasts because when we went solo, that's what happened.
Yeah. Pleasant Phantom Productions happened. Why? No, Tori, I'm not going to tell this story. You're going to tell this story. How did Pleasant Phantom Productions come into being?
Okay.
What time did you call me, Tori?
It was only like 11 o'clock my time. So it was like 10 o'clock yours.
10 o'clock my time.
Yeah, all the kids were in bed. So I was really being respectful.
And the gummy was already on board, by the way. You knew that.
Yeah, I did. And now look at where we are. So you've heard us talk many times about how Childproof episodes are created within 24 to 48 hours or 20 minutes before we start recording. And we were texting about Childproof stuff. And I was like, I want to talk about history more too, though. And I realized that the Hamilton counter on Childproof was maybe getting a little out of hand. And I was like, listen, what if I was thinking of turning, because if you all remember, I had talked about creating a history series on YouTube for quite some time. And I even put out one whole video.
One singular episode.
But it was a whole lot to do because talking to yourself is a lot harder than you would think. And so I was like, well, I was thinking about like turning this into a podcast. And Gwenna was like, yeah, man. I'm like, okay, but then you would need one too.
Books.
So what would you, books. And so The entire Pleasant Phantom Productions was created at a 10:30 at night.
10:30 at night with one neurodivergent, hyperfixative human being and one stoned as beep person.
Yeah. I was like, I just need to talk about this more. Will you listen? I will listen to you talk about something you like if you listen to me talk about something I like. And now we're having more fun on all of our podcasts
Yes.
than we ever have before.
Yeah, and all of these changes won't really change what you're accustomed to listening to. It's more going to be way more pleasant to watch and, quite frankly, way easier to edit because we won't have to do so many cutaways because our sets are just nice.
Yeah.
It is reasonable to watch that program. If we've been watching daytime and late night TV with just some guys at a desk and we're cool with it, as long as we don't look like CNN talking heads, our sets are great.
Yeah.
So it makes a lot of things way cooler.
There will still be cutaways when one of us is doing something weird.
Mostly me. It's not one of us just refers to me doing something dumb on camera.
It's I would say it's about a 60-40 split.
With
yeah.
me being the 60.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to do the thing where it really feels like a FaceTime because we are rapidly going to shift topics. Did you read the Wall Street Journal article that came out a few weeks ago at this point that gentle parenting is dying and in its place is rising something called FAFO parenting?
I sure did have the displeasure of coming across that article.
So
I feel like
FAFO,
we've been fighting against this forever.
the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Since the dawn of our social media careers, it's like, oh, you're gentle parents. You let your kids do whatever. No.
Nope. Nope. I hate the term gentle parenting. We've yelled about this before and we're about to do it again. Let's talk about that article. Fill it in.
So the Wall Street Journal article basically got themselves confused on labels and labels alone because they described F around and find out parenting, where people let their children experience the natural consequences of their choices.
Which is hilarious because we just did an episode about specifically this as gentle parents.
I need to be clear. Do you know that scene? You don't, but the people do. You know the scene in The Office? It's a show.
I've watched The Office.
You know, normally I say a show and you're like, what? So you know the scene in The Office where she holds up find the differences in these pictures. Corporate needs you to find the differences.
They're the same picture. It's the same picture.
Because gentle parenting and FAFO parenting are the same picture.
I think when we are using labels like that, what we're really doing is all of the different labels for the same thing really just determine the personality type of the parent who's doing the parenting.
Correct. I do not like the term gentle parenting because it does sound like I'm always, oh, sweetheart, are you having a big feel? Because in my house, it sounds like, yo, you're having a real big feeling over a real weird thing and you're making it my problem. Let's not.
Yeah. And in my house, it sounds more like, I understand you're frustrated, but you can't treat me that way. Yeah. Let's figure this out.
So like in gentle parenting, in FAFO parenting, you've got boundaries. In both.
Those are good. Yeah.
You've got correlated consequences. So if you forget to do your chores, it makes no sense to have an event taken away from you.
No.
Necessarily. Now, unless those chores led to the event. If the chores were preparing you to go to the event, then no.
Yeah.
The correlated consequences, you can't go to the event because you didn't do the chores that made you ready to go do that.
Yeah.
That's a correlated consequence. And correlated consequences are hard. There is a learning curve.
Sometimes it's like, I need a minute to think about this. But here's the thing when it comes to quote unquote gentle parenting. If I tell my kids, I need a minute to think about this, they're not afraid of what happens next.
Yes.
They're never afraid.
We're not using psychological warfare, which is the same thing that FAFO parenting. The article itself describes several instances of people parenting very gently while screaming, "Nuh-uh, it's not gentle parenting." The example that I'm going to reference here, and I'm going to use the name that he provided in Wall Street Journal. You can go read this article. John Wellington is 46 years old, and he proudly describes how he made his teenager go to color guard practice that she signed up for, that she joined. He made her go to practice even though she hated it. John, Wellington, age 46. That's gentle parenting.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
unless you were screaming and whatever, but we don't get that in the article.
no, here's the thing is we do because he specifically references when he was a kid, when he messed up, he and his brother would have to make eye contact while
okay.
their parents beat their butts. He chose not, he looked at that and went, no, not that. I'm not going to beat her butt. I am going to make her do the season-long commitment she signed up for. I'm going to make her stick it through.
Yeah. And as an internet gentle parent, when my kiddo decided that she wanted to drop gymnastics, I said, well, we already have committed through the end of the month, so we're going to finish our commitment.
Yeah.
But I don't want to, but we made a commitment.
That is a reasonable boundary to enforce.
And not just a boundary, that is a life lesson of when you're an adult, sometimes you have to stick with things you hate because you just have to. That's gentle parenting.
The rest of the article described natural consequences. You effed around. Now you find out. That is the pinnacle.
That is the pinnacle of it.
Parenting.
Because they're natural consequences or related consequences. They're not unreasonable. That's part of it. Do you know what I think is so funny is because we know that the term gentle parenting has really been hated and demonized, and it's, conflated with permissive parenting.
Yes.
When in reality, I think it's so funny to me because I think the reason it's always under attack is because people think that gentle parenting, like, why are you being gentle with children?
I know. The horror.
Oh, you can't be gentle with them. Like,
they're breakable, small, not good at being a person yet. By all means, be rude.
Yeah, they're relying on you to keep them alive, fed, and clothed. Don't be gentle with that.
Now, ultimately, here's what I'll give you. You brought it up earlier, and I think it's a fantastic point. The labels we choose help us identify our even more like-minded people. We put our heads together for 32 seconds, and we came up with the following labels for gentle or authoritative parenting. Every single one of these is a label.
Because gentle parenting is just authoritative parenting with an emphasis on emotional well-being.
So we've got gentle parenting.
Mm-hmm. We've got responsive parenting.
Respectful.
Intentional.
Empathetic guidance.
Empathy-first parenting.
Emotionally aware or available parenting.
FAFO.
These are all authoritative parenting. We're going to put a graphic up on the screen that shows the four major sort of, I'm going to call them archetypes of parenting. And all the ones that for me are desirable. For me, cover the best ground in taking a small beta version human and getting them to independent run state.
Yes.
Like that's all a parent's job is to take a beta version human being, show it how to be a person by teaching it all the functional tasks, and then show it how to be a good person by teaching it all of the emotional tasks.
Right. Because you can't learn everything all at once.
Correct.
That's impossible. And it takes a lot of repetition. If you had to say something to your kid 8 times,
you're not done saying it. You've got at least 32 more times.
That doesn't mean that they don't care or that they're purposely, sometimes they are, but it doesn't mean that they're purposefully being, a bad listener, or they just don't care, or that they're a bad kid. No. Do you learn something the first time you hear it?
Right. If you have never watercolored in your life, there's nothing preventing you from learning watercolor, but you will suck.
You will suck at it.
For a while.
It takes time to learn.
Potentially for years.
And you have all the skills that have come before in your life to build off of.
Right. Like you have fine motor skill, probably. You have some version of motor skill that enables you to attempt watercolor. However, if feet, tongue, mouth, hands, whatever tool you're using, it'll work. You have the practice on how to do that. They don't even have that. Well, they don't know how to hold a pencil.
Have you seen a kindergartner draw a person?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's really just kind of the vibe, is that if they're drawing a person and it's kind of big head with all the arms and legs coming off of it, they forget a torso, or they remember the torso, but all the proportions are off. There's no eyebrows. Like if we can't even draw like a stick figure, a recognizable one yet, like maybe we should be gentle with that creature.
Right.
Maybe we should. I don't know. Just a thought.
But the labels are both helpful and harmful, because while all of those labels are the same thing, they're all just like we said at the top of the episode, we are different people who take different tactics to the same goal. All of those labels, all of those versions, interpretations of authoritative parenting is going for the same thing. Where they get harmful, though, is I consider myself a responsive parent. What label do you prefer for yourself, Tori?
Intentional. I am very intentional with the decisions I make in parenting.
And I am responding rather than reacting. That's a term that helps me center. Am I reacting to this or am I responding? I have not taken the appropriate amount of time to think about this.
Which is funny.
I need to back this off.
Because
dang it.
It's funny though, because that's literally very similar with my intentional.
Yeah.
Whereas you're going, am I responding or am I reacting? For me, is this an intentional decision or is this an impulsive decision?
Yeah.
It's the same thing in a different font.
It's the same picture.
It's the same picture.
But where it becomes harmful is while you and I just had a very valid discussion that responsive and intentional are the same thing. We're doing the same things. We're just using language that fits our emotional development, our background, where we are.
Our understanding and experience.
Our understanding and the things that help us function. Look at the difference in our spaces.
Yeah. Yes.
We have very different needs. Therefore, we have very different communication styles with our own children. But the problem becomes when we start, oh, you practice intentional parenting? You're saying I'm unintentional about my parent? That's not what we're saying. That's not what we're saying. That's not what we're saying.
That's, I think the labels, for me, this is something I've talked to my kids about as well. And it's any kind of label you give yourself. That's how we're communicating to other people a easier description about something about us.
Right.
And when it comes to labels, I consider them like name tags. We can put on the same name tag every day. Every day I am Tori. But maybe tomorrow I feel like being
Mom.
Tori Phantom fully. So I'm going to change that. But maybe I don't feel like wearing that name tag. So yeah, I'm just going to wear my mom name tag the next day. Maybe one day I'm going to wear both. Right. And so they're only communicating to other people, this is who I am. I know who I am, right? And so when we're trying to, like, the labels we put on, they're not boxes we're putting ourselves in.
Correct.
And so it's in the same way, right? It's the same picture. You and I parent wildly differently, but wildly the same.
Wildly the same, right.
And how many times have both of us learned something from each other?
Yes.
And just started, whoa, that was good. I heard this on this podcast and I'm going to incorporate this into my life.
Yeah. But I am a responsive parent and you are an intentional parent. How does that work? I'm a gentle parent and John Wellington, who made his kid go to color guard practice despite not wanting to, is a FAFO parent. We're all doing the same thing.
Also, the term FAFO parent, like, it just seems so inflammatory of this way of, like, I feel like in the way that people conflate gentle parenting with permissive parenting, I feel like you could do the same thing with the label FAFO.
And authoritarian parenting.
Yeah. Yes, because it feels very hands off. Like, go ahead and do what you want, find out. And it's like,
I'll throw hands with my kid.
Right. It's the connotation of all of it where it's really just like, can we all just agree we want to, like, do it the best for our kids?
Right.
Like, it's so silly. But I feel like we showed the graphic, but we should talk about what the different types of parenting are for the people who aren't watching.
So this is set up on a grid. The higher in the position, it's the more responsive you are. And the further right on the position, the more demanding you are. So in the top left quadrant, I definitely had to check my tattoo hand. In the top left quadrant is permissive. It's child-driven, rarely gives or enforces rules, overindulges child to avoid conflict. Below that,
we have neglectful, which is an uninvolved or absent parent who provides little nurturance or guidance and is pretty indifferent to the child's social, emotional, and behavioral needs.
So those are the two that, generally speaking, both Tori and I 100% avoid. This is not neglectful, should feel obvious. Permissive is another one. It sometimes free range gets associated with permissive, but even then, that's a poor use of a label because there are free range authoritative parents that we'll describe in just a sec. But permissive and neglectful are doing your child no favors. You're trusting them too much to figure it out on their own in both of those
And
varieties.
you're afraid to make your kid mad.
Correct.
You did.
Well, and it's one of the issues that for a while, and I think it's died down, but maybe not because I'm not in a diapering stage anymore. But when I first got online and started discussing, first of all, I was informed that I was a gentle parent. I did
Same.
not.
I had no idea.
I had no idea,
no
but
idea.
I was informed I was a gentle parent. But once it was explained, I was like, oh no, that makes sense. Sure, I can accept that label. And then eventually I rejected it for the reasons we've already discussed. But for a while there was, you have to ask your 6-month-old consent to change their diaper. No, that's not how consent works. A 6-month-old can't actually grant consent, and you are in fact responsible for attending its medical needs, whether it can give you consent or not. And changing a waist diaper off of their sensitive little skin is in fact a medical need. We can explain.
Yeah.
We can absolutely introduce terms while we're talking to them, but we don't have to ask their consent to address a medical need.
We can tell them, I am changing your diaper.
Right.
We're going to get the wipies out. But that's
wandering too close to permissive.
Yeah.
I am not going to ask my child to save their life from the oncoming onslaught of an F-350 of a driver who's not paying attention. I'm not going to ask, hey, can I pull you out of traffic real quick? Okay, yeet. I'm just going to push.
Right. Right. I mean, and it's in that way that I don't explain things or explain consequences. Like if you F around and find out what happens if you're not looking when you're going across the road. No, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, we're not gonna let them F around and find out that way.
Yeah. Instead, what I do is I tell my kids that you're not looking to see if the car stopped. You are looking to see if the person driving it sees you, because cars don't have eyes. But then on the bottom, when we are moving across to the right of this grid, we get to authoritarian, which is more what my parents were. Yeah. And this is your parent-driven parenting, right? It's about the parents' needs.
Parents' needs, right.
They set strict rules and have strict, severe punishment. One-way communication with little consideration of child's social, emotional, and behavioral needs. And that is like a parent is yelling, parent is demanding
or belittling.
Demeaning.
How dare you make this mistake? Look what you made me do.
And a child who is trying to respond or explain is, now you're back talking, you're in trouble. That kind of thing, where it's very much based on the parent's perception. There's little input from the actual child, who is also a person.
While it can happen on all fringes, the neglectful and the authoritarian quadrants are where most actual abuse cases are happening. That's where most of that is coming from. You can absolutely be abusive, permissive, and you can be abusive, authoritative. But most of...
They're the more extreme parenting
They're the more extreme
styles.
Versions, right.
Yeah. But so that's with this, it moves us into the authoritative, which is kind of what experts
this entire podcast has always been about, is authoritative.
I do feel like it's important to note too, is that even with this, like we were saying with labels, there's no one box, right? It's not, Correct. You're not trying to do everything to fit into one box. Like maybe you're usually authoritative, but sometimes if you've been having a really bad day, you get a little authoritarian for like a minute, but then maybe you feel bad about it. So then you go like permissive because you're like, well, now I feel guilty. Like, we are people who are dealing with regular life and emotions, and every day is different. And that's what we always say is the best we can give on a day is still our best.
We can choose what battles to fight.
Yeah.
I have gone completely permissive on my teenager's room, with one exception. The minute I find science experiments of abandoned snacks, or abandoned snacks that are attracting vermin, because we live in the country. So roaches, some of us weevils, as pets. Ants, even mice. We don't really have a whole lot of rats here in this area, but if your room has gotten to the point that it is attracting vermin, that it is a true health hazard, that maybe milk is spoiling, maybe some mold or mildew is growing on an abandoned snack. Nope, now we're stepping in. But aside from that singular boundary, I am completely permissive on what she does with her room. I don't care.
Right. But
what she paints, I don't care where she puts stuff. I don't care if it's a disaster.
Like that is an important thing to point out, though, is that I almost feel like being permissive to an extent should be a goal by the time your kids get to your child's age, because
She is
about to be an adult.
years old.
She's about to be out on her own. Like,
Yeah.
so what a better place for her to not have all of these
Right.
strict boundaries than in the safety of home, where she can mess up
Correct.
and still
Correct.
have mom there just in case to step in and go, get the moldy milk out of your room, bud.
Correct. Right. So I elected a certain level of permissiveness, and the older they get, the more permissive it gets. My daughter and I just had the curfew talk because she is now 18 years old, but she is also still a senior in high school. So it's just because of where her birthday fell.
Right.
So currently her, and I have permission to describe this, her curfew is 10 o'clock. It's like, okay, now that you're 18, I will extend that curfew to midnight on non-school, non-activity nights. So Friday and Saturday nights, and later through the year, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, because our school district switches to a 4-day year halfway through the year. After Christmas, we go to a 4-day week. It doesn't make sense to me either. But
Gwenna was just responding to the face I made, if you're only listening.
But I was like, that's that. After you graduate, I feel it is in both of our best interests, me for learning to let go and not parent with as many claws and hooks in the control of your life, even though you'll still be living with me for a little bit while you get up on your feet, you find that job, you find that apartment and those first few roommates. It's going to take some time. I can give you the time. I can give you the space. As long as you're moving forward, we're good. But once you graduate, as long as you are not making it everyone else's problem, you will no longer have a curfew. You will have your own responsibilities. And now we've entered FAFO territory. If you stay up and out way too late, nothing good happens after midnight, ma'am.
No.
If you stay up and out way too late and you are late for work and you lose your job, or you get disciplinary action, or you mess something up, or you miss an opportunity, or you accidentally skip a class that you could not have skipped because that was an important class to not skip, that you effed around. Now you're finding out. But I'm lifting the curfew after she graduates high school.
Yeah, that seems perfectly reasonable, because I think that's a thing to learn too, especially in this economy, in this world.
And especially when she's still technically living in my house.
But what a better way to learn how to have a roommate, because hey, yeah, you could stay out as late as you want, but I do not come in here causing chaos at 2 o'clock in the morning.
You are still going to have to sneak in, because if you wake up your siblings, you wake up your mother, I will in fact be authoritarian on your butt for a sec.
I'm gonna be mad about it.
I'm going to be real mad about it, and I am going to make it your problem. Just know I have communicated this boundary and expectation in advance of it happening. I will lose my ish.
It's funny because in our house, one of the things we often say is, if anyone is driving someone nuts, we go, I'm going to throw you out a window. It's just I don't know why. That's just the thing we all say.
Right.
And one time I said it to my eldest, who responded, gentle parent, not so gentle after all. I lost it. It was so funny. But
for the most part, the Wall Street Journal and other people who want to complain about gentle parenting, you are complaining about odd labels and the fact that human beings feel the need to condense our labels so acutely. We are only describing ourselves. Like, we have so many labels we feel we need to carry around. And some of them we do. Some of them we do need to carry around. I am an author, and I am so proud of the work I did.
I am so proud of you for being proud of that and like confidently saying you're an author. Just an insider being Gwenna's friend here. That first book, The Mama Cusses, A Field Guide to Being a Responsive Parent, Therapy, Panic at the Disco song title. It's a Mama Cusses book, okay? It's good. I have 3 copies. I bought 2 of them. One of them was advanced reader because I'm her best friend. The other, I bought one of them because I saw it in an airport and got excited. I'm getting sidetracked. Anyway, here's the thing, okay? When that book came out, Gwenna was still like, I don't feel like I'm really an author yet. And so the growth, I'm celebrating it right now. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so proud of you. Anyway.
Some of our labels are important and some of our labels are absolutely fine, but some of them get a little too fine, I think, sometimes, where we begin to wonder, oh, well, I'm a gentle parent, so you, the responsive parent, are doing it wrong.
I do
Most of the
wonder
time
here.
you're bitching about the other 3 styles.
Yeah, well, and I also do wonder here if the way, because of course now we cling on to this anti-gentle parenting rhetoric that we hear so often because we've been told that that's the category we fall into, and that's really the spaces we hang out in.
Yeah.
However, I do wonder if the way that people get so mad about different parenting labels is because all of us are really, 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 really insecure about parenting because we love our kids and we want to do the best by them. And then when we read these lists that are like so specific and they're like, oh, this person must be perfect, it falls into that social media highlight reel type thing. And so it is almost like a defense mechanism. Like if I can tear this type of parenting down, like, well, I'm not that kind of parent. I'm a good parent because like, and like, yeah, I yell at my kids and like gentle parents, like sometimes you should yell at your kids. We do.
We do.
We talked about that. Sometimes we yell.
Sometimes we yell. Sometimes we don't mean to yell. Sometimes we mess up. We lose our tempers and we make it our children's problem without warning.
And that's not always a bad thing because our kids are humans who are going to mess up and lose their minds and they need to see the repair work that happens after. And sometimes we have done multiple episodes of all the ways we have messed up. I'm going to share right now a current thing that I know both of our households are dealing with. It is the very end of summer. Our children, as we record this episode, by the time you hear this episode, our children will be back in school. But as we record this episode, our children are out of school. We are in the home stretch of summer. We are days away from the first day of school, and our families separately, because we live in different states, our families are 100% over being a part of the families. Yeah, there's
so many little skirmishes. There's so many little fights. I am so easily elevated to red zone. I am so easy. My eldest is over all of us. She's over my BS. She's over her siblings' BS. She's over her dad's BS. Like we're done with each other because we've been in very close proximity with almost
even when
no
you go
routine.
do fun things, it's still
right. Even
most
with the
of
routine
time.
that I so happily, it worked really well. I'm not saying that little guide thing that I made at the beginning of the summer with all the themes and the activities, it worked, but it didn't change the fact that at the end we're sick of each other.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I literally woke up this morning and I was not having it. I was exhausted and I woke up and immediately my kid was like, oh, hey, Mom, I kept the rat out too long and it pooped. Could you? And I'm like, I haven't had coffee yet. Like, you can clean it up. Yeah. And then I went out and I looked and I forgot to set my coffee pot last night. And boy, was I dramatic about that. Not towards my kids, just it was a dramatic showing. And then I was like, I'm sorry, guys. Like, I'm being so dramatic right now. My bad. Like, I wasn't even yelling at anybody. I was just like, it's just so dramatic about my coffee pot. I was yelling at myself in a dramatic fashion.
100% the other day, we were trying to navigate somewhere to pick something up. And my daughter got confused because she is typically the navigator. And then I got confused and we had driven in circles. I kid you not, 7 times we had circled this one place, unable to find how to get to the one spot that we needed to get to.
Yeah.
And at one point, my littles were in the back, and the youngest one, the girl child, goes, "Hey, Mom." And I went, "No, not right now. You are not allowed to talk. I am not mad at you, even though I sound really mad. I am mad, but not at you. I need you to stop talking so I can have a moment to calm down."
The other day I yelled at my kid. I don't even remember the circumstance. But something, it was like I'd asked her to do something several times. She did it. And I was like very stressed about it, an other thing. Yeah. And I yelled. And then I was like, while I was not, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm yelling. And then I'm like, well, I don't sound sorry right now. So I took a breath and I came back and I was like, I was projecting my feelings on you. And I know I still sound really stressed. I am stressed, but I want you to know
it's not your fault.
It is not your fault. And I'm going to keep trying to do better. Yeah. That's the gentle parenting part.
That's
not
the gentle
not
parenting.
Yelling. We're humans. We're going to react sometimes. The gentle parenting part, the responsive part, the intentional part is going, I shouldn't have done that. I overreacted. I was rude. I projected my feelings. I made them someone else's problem. And now I have to hold myself accountable for it.
Well, and the other thing that authoritative parenting leaves room for is after I did calm down, we found the place, we got the thing we were supposed to get, everything was fine. I got back in the car and I turned around. I was like, so Mom was mad, right? Yeah. So what do I tell you when you're feeling mad? What should you say? I'm mad. I need a minute. That's a phrase that I have equipped them with all the time. I'm mad. I need a minute. And if any person who cannot respond correctly to I'm mad, I need a minute is someone you need to watch very carefully because they do not have your emotional well-being in mind.
They're being very authoritarian.
Correct. So I'm mad. I need a minute. What I just did right there was the exact same thing. I'm mad. I need a minute. But in that moment, I couldn't think of all those words. But you understood, right? You weren't scared that mom was yelling. Right. You understood. I described what I needed. And you guys, very respectfully, and I appreciate that so much. Thank you. You guys responded and you cooled and you quieted and you let us figure it out. And I'm so proud of you. I celebrated that they did what was asked. I explained this was the coping method that I'm trying to teach you. This is what it looks like in real life. Also, I'm super sorry for yelling because I did not need to do that.
Right.
But I was really stressed. I'm so sorry.
Right. And it's like, I just feel like this idea that gentle parents just sit all day. Oh, sweetie, like, I know that it must be hard. Like, that's not, no one talks like that. I don't think.
I mean, some might, but
Some might.
Probably not super effectively.
Like, sometimes, sure, right? But it's like, that's not all the time because as people, we're not doing anything all the time.
Right.
We're influenced by the circumstance. And did we
I have
eat enough?
100% yelled at my children and not apologized.
Same.
Because there were times I corrected one of them in Walmart and they had flailed and they hit some other lady's cart, which made it bump into the shelf. And the way I grabbed both that child's forearms, moved it in front of me, and I was like, that was not a thing that is going to happen again. You are aware of your body in space. Like, my voice was elevated. My emotions were elevated. And I did not apologize for that because at no point did I diminish, demean, or blame them for being bad at being a person.
Like, we are apologizing when it is inappropriate. And that's, I said to my kids, we were having a family meeting. We do family meetings a lot. And I was like,
I need to institute those.
They're so good. I'm telling you. Family meetings are a great thing.
An intentional parent is teaching a responsive parent. Oh my gosh.
But we had a family meeting about something or other, but I told you that we do our check-ins as well. And that's probably, a couple times a year, I'll ask the kids, is there anything that I am doing that is really bothering you or something that you think is, am I yelling too much? Like that type of thing. Right. And then is there anything you need that
I'm the state of the family
doing.
Address.
Yeah. And that's not every family meeting. We have family meetings about plenty of things. And sometimes it's fun,
Yeah.
I mean, I called a family meeting in my room the other day because I realized that the rat cage had a lemonade stand hideout and then a duck hideout. And then there was a grape hanging toy. And
a duck walks into a lemonade stand.
And I called a family meeting for that.
In the stand. Ha! Bop, bop, bop. Got any grapes?
So that was a family meeting too, but the one I was talking about, so the other part of it is there anything you need that I'm missing, that I'm not doing? Because I can't know, I'm not a mind reader. So if there's something you need from me, this is the time to tell me. And also at any time, tell me. And I had said something along the lines of because none of them mentioned that they wanted me to yell less, but I tell them some of my own personal goals. And I'm like, I'm really trying to yell less. I feel like maybe I yell too much. And my eldest says, honestly, I feel like you'd yell less if we listened more. I think that's on us too.
That's the whole point. That's every time I hear gentle parenting doesn't work for gentle children. No shit, Sherlock.
It's because it's not about being gentle. It's not about, we're not always gentle as parents. They're not gentle children. We're just focusing on feelings. I get the feelings wheel out with my kids. We talk about the way we're experiencing things and the way we should handle things,
Well, and the number one question, the most asked question in my house is not how are you feeling, but how do you think that made that person feel? How would you feel if?
Yeah. Ours is a good mix of those.
Yeah.
And
that's not to say I don't check in how you feeling.
Right.
But our most asked question is, how would you feel if? Would you like if that happened?
Yeah. And that's the thing that I do because emotional intelligence, that's something that I emphasize. That's a priority. This is how we
teach empathy.
And it's when we're all happy. How does it feel in your body when you're mad? What do you think would help? Because I want to avoid that regurgitation of take a deep breath. Well, is that actually going to help though? I don't think it's going to help. It's never helped before. You don't want to take a deep breath when you're mad. What would really help? Let's not just go on these coping mechanisms we've heard of before. What do you think would really help? And what does that feel like in your body? Because maybe if we can identify what that feels like in your body, we can identify what would actually help move that feeling out. Because the words we have to describe our feelings, those are just words. The feelings, we feel them. We're reacting to the feeling.
And that's the other thing about, and I think that's why the term FAFO feels so much better than gentle parenting. Because in all of that, we have to do a lot of work. Not only do a bunch of us have to recenter how our childhood does not necessarily need to define the choices we make in our parenthood. It will shape it, but we don't need to make the same choices our parents did just because those are the choices that our parents did. Both of us looked at how we were raised and went, not like that.
Not like
now,
that.
very different inputs, but both of us looked at our upbringing and went, we both grew up in authoritarian houses, but they were different flavors of authoritarian houses.
Right. When I became a parent, I didn't know what to do, but I had a non-exhaustive list of things I would never do.
And when I became a parent, I was so scared, confused, and in my own hazy fog, I just started doing exactly what my mom did. And eventually went, no, I don't want this. So I changed
feel good anymore.
Later.
Yeah. And that's okay too. That's the thing that I see a lot.
The learning curve is terrifying because you are going to be bad at it. If you are learning a new style of parenting, you're going to suck at it. The same way your kids suck at being gentle kids. Obviously, they can't. You've never showed them how to do that.
Right. And literally, here's the thing. I am a way better parent now than I was 5 years ago.
Yes.
And I am going to be a way better parent 5 years from now because if I haven't had any growth, then I'm being a person wrong. I want to keep changing and doing better. And if I'm not getting there, if I can't look back and go, man, I've come a long way.
Yes.
Like that's the disappointing part to me. Not that I made a mistake, but that I'm not learning from them. And that's something I want to teach my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
so basically, this was a massively long episode that the Wall Street Journal accidentally encouraged folks to explore gentle parenting under a different name. And ultimately, I can't be mad at them.
Yeah. And, but seemingly we did spend most of this episode mad. So, there's a timer.
I think it's because we're mad at having the same conversation in 7 different ways.
Yeah, I think it's because...
That being said, are we going to do this again in a couple of years? Absolutely.
Yeah. I think it makes us mad because it always falls back into parent shaming and a superiority like, well, gentle parenting is bad. Like, did you even Google it first, though?
Did you just think of permissive parent? Is that a cactus, Janet?
Like,
are you holding a cactus, Janet?
Like, let's all just do the best we can for our kids and give it whatever label feels good and hope that our kids do even better.
Leave other people's labels alone. You know, there's an allegory for actual life, too. Okay, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Childproof and for your support of all the podcasts on our new network, Pleasant Phantom Productions. I hope you enjoyed our little mini history that none of you asked for, but we gave anyway.
Yeah, I like talking about history. It's fine, but we are both blown away by how many of you have been checking out Founded, where I talk about history, and Bibliophage,
where I talk about books.
Talks about books, but not history books. We'll get there. I'm gonna peer pressure her.
Eventually. We are so happy you're enjoying because all 3 of these podcasts are so much fun to work on. You can find them on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and most places you find your favorite podcasts, including now, after years of requests, the entire Pleasant Phantom Network is available on iHeartRadio.
We figured it out. So be sure to leave a rating, a review, and comment on all the podcasts. It really does help.
And we want to hear from you. If you've got something you need to hear us talk about on Childproof, email us at childproofmail@gmail.com.
And be sure to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications on YouTube and Spotify or wherever you're listening to us so you never miss an episode.
And remember, sometimes our kids are the assholes.
And sometimes it's us.
It's almost always Wall Street Journal.
Yeah. They're going to FAFO.
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 Stop.